he's gone this time. Not the best delivery, and he's still there, Stuart Broad. What's he standing there for? They've all appealed. Umpires haven't given it out. There are no reviews left. He's just stood there.
The moment of the day, without a doubt, as far as controversy is concerned, the moment when Stuart Broad was on 37, England were 297 for 6, 232 ahead, and then he edged, or did he edge, to slip via the keeper's pads, but was given not out by umpire Aleem Dar. It has provoked huge reaction from you on the tweets and on emails, and we'll come to some of those in just a moment or two. But who should we start with? Bob, you can go first. Your thoughts on the incident?
Well, it's not something I like to see on the cricket field, somebody standing when they're clearly out, but he's entitled to do that. He's got every right to stay there and wait for the umpire's finger to go up. We know that Stuart never thinks he's out. He's got the nerve to call for reviews when he's plumb LBW, caught behind, and if the opposition think he's out, he's quite happy to review it and just stand his ground. So I think that you know, the match referee might have something to say about it, but he's perfectly within his rights to stay there.
Why would the match referee have anything to say about this? He's just waited for a decision to be given. He's been given not out, and he's just carried on batting. He hasn't done anything.
I think Bob might be referring to around the dinner table at home. That match referee, aren't you? The father. Yeah, look, I agree with Bob in the sense that it's his decision. So he's clearly decided that, no, I'm going to stand firm here, but he's got to live with that decision. Like other players in the past that we've seen through the history of the game have clearly hit the ball and they've stood their ground and held poker face. Now, they've had to live with those decisions. Broad's got to live with this. He's got to live with all the headlines that comes with it, the sledging that may come from it throughout this whole series and series beyond. And also the cricketing family, whether it be, you know, in England or the cricketing family throughout the world, looking at it and thinking, well, pointing at the finger and saying, well, I don't think you did the right thing. Or there's going to be a view of, good on you, mate. You know, well done, you've held your ground.
I don't really understand why what he's done should get him a lot of sledging. So he's not the first batsman. He's certainly not the first batsman in an Ashes encounter to stand his ground. I mean...
No, I think that Stuart Broad never walks, and most batsmen don't think. It's interesting that, you know, the Sky commentary team at the ground, the elder statesmen, Holding, Lloyd, Botham, were all walkers. But the younger brethren, Strauss, Hussain, Atherton, wouldn't dream of walking in that situation. They'd have all been standing there.
Were you a walker?
No.
So you'd have stood there for that?
Yeah. Oh, no, not for that. Gosh.
There are elements of...
Oh, there's a grey area, and some people's grey area is, you know, taking the mickey. And I thought today that was embarrassing. Like the incident that you showed back of Michael Clarke. That's embarrassing. You've got to move on. You're out.
I don't know that Stuart has a grey area. It's black or white. He doesn't... and he's white as far as he's concerned. He's not out.
Well, yeah, there's something in the genes, isn't there, from his father. He had to be dragged off in Pakistan by Graham Gooch when he was given out. And he's now a match referee, as Tom was just saying. Well,
let's do some tweets, and thanks to everybody who's taken the trouble to get in touch with us. And it's a wide range of views here. Here we go. Tom Chambers, no two ways around that. It's cheating, as bad as claiming a grounded catch, misleading the umpire deliberately. That's a good point, Tom. We'll come on to that grounded catch business. Nathan, though, no way Broad should have walked. Umpire's job to give him out, not his. Australia have partly themselves to blame for wasting reviews. That's another good point. We'll come on to that in a minute. P.W. Stone, what a disgusting act of sportsmanship. Cricket is the gentleman's game. What would Broad Senior think? As Bob says, he famously didn't walk when he was given out in Pakistan. Andy Hayward, batsmen should walk. Sad sign of the times but they rarely do these days. Robert Cassie says, serious bottle from Broad there, though. This is the other point of view. Give the Aussies a bit of their own treatment. This series is looking like a classic already. And David Brighton says, if everyone walked, we wouldn't need DRS if it's there for exactly this situation, not disputing a marginal LBW. Let's just pick up on that point about a grounded catch, because Michael Holding, on the live broadcast, brought up the Ramdin incident from the Champions Trophy. Ramdin, of course, claimed that catch in the game against Pakistan. He dropped it, but he still went through with saying he'd caught it and was suspended for 2 games. Is this similar? Is that if that was against the spirit of the game, is Broad against the spirit of the game?
Well, that's a matter for opinion, isn't it? I don't think the incidents are that similar. In fact, Ramdin there was just embarrassed as he never appealed for the catch, but his teammates were celebrating. It would have taken a brave man to admit that he'd been wrong and gone up to the umpire and said, no, I didn't catch that, call the batsman back. That's what should have happened, and that's why the ICC stepped in. But I don't think the ICC are going to step in and say Broad's brought the game into disrepute, because nobody walks these days. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, a catch that's claimed that's clearly not a catch is deemed as horribly worse off than the situation we saw today with Broad, the nick. Now, we see the nick and batsmen not walk, and we've seen that, you know, for many years, and a lot of batsmen are now being found out because technology is so much better, and we're getting these hot spots and snickos and slow-mo and different angles of cameras. So the batsmen are, you know, being found out. But to me, they're very similar. But both, you're disrespecting the game and you're disrespecting your opponent. But for whatever reasons, the catch is the most ugly incident. If you're claiming something on the field, you know, with a catch that you clearly haven't caught, whether it's on the bounce or you drop it and pick it up and you say, no, it's all clear, is always uglier. Well, yeah, I mean, you get to situations where fielders say they've caught the ball. That used to be the way. The batsman asked the fielder, did you catch it? He says yes. Another incident at Adelaide, you remember, Michael Vaughan was clearly caught by Justin Langer at cover. But then we had the, you know, the camera lens elongating the picture, and you couldn't definitely tell on replay whether the catch had been taken. It went straight into Langer's hands, but Vaughan stood there. This has gone on through time immemorial. Ian Chappell, when he was a young player in South Africa, he nicked the ball. It bounced in front of Tiger Lance at second slip. He asked him, did you catch it? And Lance said yes. He walked off the ground. And then the guy said, well, why on earth did you walk? It bounced a yard in front of him. So Chappell tackled Tiger Lance about it. He said, I asked you if you caught that. He says, yes, man, but you didn't ask me whether it bounced first.
I just want to clarify one thing in my own mind. If Johnny Bairstow, who nicked Agar and was caught behind and turned on his heel and marched straight off before the umpire had even given the decision, so he walked in that instance. If he hadn't walked and stood there and waited to be given out, would that have been substantially different from what Broad did? In other words, what I'm asking you here is a thin nick okay, you're just waiting for the decision, as opposed to a big thick nick, which is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think that's the grey area that I'm talking about, and I think that, you know, most players in the thin neck situation, which is the grey area, will just hold their ground and wait for the slow death with the finger. Where the heavy nick, the thick nick, they go, you know, why wait? This is, you know, it's time to go. I've clearly nicked that, and I think you'll find, if you look at today in world cricket, there's probably only Hashim Amla, who walks, South African, and, gosh, who else is there?
Maybe Johnny Bairstow.
Well, yeah, I'm going to give you the final word on this for the moment. You were the bowler. What happened when you knew that somebody had nicked it and somebody had stood their ground and been given not out? Because that must have happened a lot of time in your career. What did you say? Oh, well, c'est la vie.
Well, you certainly didn't say c'est la vie. You made yourself pretty clear to the umpire that he was incompetent. I mean, it happened the first ball of the Test match at Wellington in 1978. John Wright nicked it in front of second slip, and Bob Taylor dived full length and caught the catch, given not out. He batted all day for 52 not out, and New Zealand won the Test match. First time they'd ever beaten England.
Right, well, let's see what the Australians made of it all. Today's affairs. This is the Daily Telegraph. Australia incensed after Broad refuses to walk. And some Aussie papers for you. Bell stands firm as Aussies fume. That's from the Australian. The Sydney Morning Herald, Clark fuming after umpire howlers cost us tonight. And the Herald Sun, England take charge of the first test on a day of high drama at Trent Bridge.